In the news this week, Supreme Court overturned its ruling on Perth Freight Link's environmental approval.
Plus a special report into Australia's first groundwater replenishment plant.
And on Western Perspective, prevention or cure, the battle against the methamphetamine scourge in Australia.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Lung and Daniel Staniskov.
Good evening. Just 8 months after the Environmental Protection Authority's approval on Perth Freight Link was ruled as invalid, the Supreme Court has overturned that decision this week. State government ministers welcomed the ruling, but local residents said the fight is not over. Lucas De Paz begins our coverage.
The state government has won an appeal against the Supreme Court's decision which ruled environmental approvals for the controversial Roe Highway Stage 8, which will cost at least $1.6 billion. Premier Colin Barnett and Environment Minister Albert Jacobs both welcomed the decision.
State government is still committed to proceeding with Roe 8.
I welcome that decision as Minister for Environment, and particularly given that the decision tests those points in law that we really felt needed testing.
Last year, Supreme Court Chief Justice Wayne Martin ruled that the Environmental Protection Authority's project assessment and approval was invalid. The opposition is now calling for the decision of the project to be determined by the public.
State government, Mr Barnett, if he has the courage of his convictions, will simply say, OK, the community doesn't support this project, let's take it to a state election and see if we can convince the community about this project.
Meanwhile, local mayors reacted differently towards the ruling. Melville Mayor Russell Aubrey expressed his delight, while Coburn Mayor Logan Howlett stated his disappointment.
We're very pleased that the green light has been given for the first stage of the Melville bypass, and this road, it'll take the trauma off of our major arteries.
There's no good moving it from one community to another community without any consideration and stand there laughing about it. That's appalling.
It's expected that Roe 8 will remain a controversial topic as contracts will be signed in the near future. Lucas De Paz, WAMN News.
Australia's first groundwater replenishment plant will begin recycling WA's wastewater at the end of this year in an attempt to reduce drought. The successful trial has encouraged the government to double the plant's processing capacity to 28 billion litres of water by the end of 2017. Nelson Liu takes a look.
It's a plan designed to help boost WA's water supplies. The state government turning to recycling wastewater into drinking water, WA's drying climate the cause.
It's not just about rain anymore, it's about our customers' behaviour, it's about the water we use and the various sources.
Billions of litres will be treated from ultrafiltration, reverse osmosis and ultraviolet disinfection before it's pumped into our groundwater.
It gets re-injected back into the reserve and into our reservoirs, our underground aquifers, and certainly it will become another source for us.
But despite a wetter winter than previous years, the state government says now is the time to increase water levels through its groundwater replenishment scheme. Craigie's plan to double its capacity to 28 billion litres from the end of the year.
I think people understand that we live in a drying climate, that we need to be better at recycling and reusing the resource that we have.
The project is a culmination of a 3-year trial to improve WA's water supplies, but Water Minister Mia Davey says the plan is also vital to move towards climate-independent sources of water. Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
The asbestos scandal continues this week with test results showing that building products used at the Perth Children's Hospital is 100 times over the safety limit. The opposition's health spokesman Roger Cook said the scandal shows the state is facing a health crisis.
We're also calling on the Minister, John Day, to come forward today to meet with the members of the WA building community, the workers that have been exposed to the asbestos, and to answer to the WA public about what he is doing and what his government has found out in relation to this issue.
Perth's $217 million brand new busport began its service this weekend after it was opened by Premier Colin Barnett and Transport Minister Dean Nalder. The state-of-the-art transport infrastructure is set to revolutionise Perth's bus network, delivering new methods of waiting buses in a comfortable environment with the latest arrival of timetables.
An important part of the revitalisation of Perth as a vibrant, modern capital city, and of course part of the overall Perth City Link project.
At least 84 people have been killed after France was hit by another terrorist attack during its Bastille Day fireworks celebrations in Nice. The attacker deliberately drove the truck into the crowd before he was shot and killed by police. This is the third time France was struck by a coordinated terrorist attack since 2015. During a press conference, US President Barack Obama offered his full support to the French.
I told President Hollande that we will stand united now in our grief, in our praying for the many who are injured, many of whom are still fighting for their lives, and we pledge to stand with our French friends as we defend our nations against this scourge of terrorism and violence.
Theresa May became Britain's second female Prime Minister after David Cameron stepped down from the position due to the fallout of Brexit. Meanwhile, former London Mayor Boris Johnson was appointed as a new Foreign Secretary. During his departure speech, Mr Cameron said it was an honour for him to serve as Prime Minister.
It's not been an easy journey, and of course we've not got every decision right. But I do believe that today our country is much stronger.
And finally, this week, Perth has claimed a massive coup to host the State of Origin series at Perth Stadium in 2019, pumping at least $15 million into the state's economy. Former NRL players and local rugby league executives expressed their excitement over the announcement.
It will give New South Wales and Queenslanders a reason to come and visit this beautiful city, and I think it's perfect for tourism.
To have that event come to Perth for the first time to be played in Australia outside of the heartlands of the East Coast, I think is a really momentous decision.
That's good news for the rugby community.
Absolutely. And those are the top stories you need to know this week. We have the latest news on our website and Facebook.
Here's Nelson Liu with Western Perspective. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks, Ivan and Danielle. Hello and welcome to Western Perspective. I'm Nelson Liu.